What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Put Up. I am A.K.A. the Wizard, your host, and we are solidly into 2026 now. And I believe this is episode 17 of season 2. This is a place where you find out all the untold stories about independent artists from all over the world. And today is no exception. Today we have an award winning guest coming back onto the Put Up with an award to talk about a little bit. Robin Hood of Rhyme, how you doing, brother?
Hey man, it's good. It's good to be back, man. And like I said before, I'm gonna say it on your page too. The way you move and channel energy and just your reality is a blessing to be around. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. And it's always this crazy thing because like technology and like just life circumstances, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Trying to maintain that lane all the time is just like this whole process, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah,
it's always been got to balance something, changing all the time. How am I? What? Sorry.
how are you doing?
About what you said, I'm managing managing the day to day, but um, the technology. I'm finally being a little bit older. I've kind of gracefully gotten used to all this stuff, mixing and things like that. I'm getting better at things like that, and I'm excited about that. But so we'll keep it to music with that. A lot of things don't really change, and I've realized that you kind of got to let things matriculate and just the whole thing. Everybody always says being consistent is so true in so many ways. So I'm just trying to hold and hang in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Just keep
Keep
that
doing.
trust, right? I heard
Yep.
the craziest thing. I think I've said it before, even it's like you can't move a parked bus, but as soon as you get moving, God can help move that bus. You know what I mean? Steering it.
Physics. You know what I mean? Physics
Yeah,
too. If you
bro.
think motion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, once something's moving, it's a lot easier to kind of get like motion with that while it's already
Yep.
going. Yeah, man, for sure.
Yep.
But yo, let's just hop into the interview. I'm
Yep.
excited to hear what you've been up to since I talked to you last. I've been following you long on social media, so I mean I see some of it, but we really want to hear what you've been up to since then, right? But first of all, before we do that, we're gonna go backwards again. We're gonna talk about music as a child or like earliest memories that you have of like music shaping who you are today. Tell us about that.
Um, it's funny because I relate it a certain way when I think about when and how I got into music, but when I take that step back further and actually go to like pre-music, you know what I mean, if you will, it was basically like Baby Got Back and like you know what I'm saying, like that type of rhythm anthem, 80s, 90s, late 80s, early 90s, like traditional hip hop sound, but it was like what we think of as like anthems in the 2000s is what it was then. It was marketable, and they were learning how to do that, and that literally, like, look, it, you could call it a memory, but like that's what is summoned to my mind when I get asked that question, because I don't really think about it that much. But I would be riding around Rivergate Mall and northeast Nashville, like with my mom in her car at like 7 years old, and I remember this, like, you know what I'm saying, like what the day was like, and it's so crazy the connection that we make to things that are maybe unique, or maybe we find a rhythm or a soul in and an interest in. But that was probably really where it began. If I put up a certain point on it.
Yeah, it's crazy because like when I look back myself, I can like starkly remember these days like in this old school like full length old they call them like raper vans now. You know those old school like Chevy Beauville GMC vans or whatever, you know? And like my
Yeah.
dad would have like the AM radio turned on, like listening to like the Beatles and like this old school like rock music and shit, right? And I just remember
Right. Right.
sitting
Right.
there as like a kid, like just what is this going on here? And I don't know if I really liked the music so much because I got into like punk rock after that, right? But it was like
Right.
just going back that far, and all of this stuff shapes you in the future. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
never gonna be gone. It's there's always a piece of it with you as you carry on through life, right? It's
It's
wild
funny
shit.
you say that, because, like, for me, I was born in the '80s, and stereotypically, you think I'd like certain types of '80s music, like hair bands or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to be whatever, but I've never, and I honestly think I kind of rebelled against that. Of course, Robin Hood, that would make sense, but just my mentality. I really do, though. I never liked that stuff. White Snake. There were certain songs. This dude want to turn the system on when you pull in the driveway. But yeah, like 70s classic rock and certain things, and alternative rock in the 90s, and then the rap. You know what I mean? That was my niche. So I agree.
Yeah, man. And then I got into like hip hop when I was like 10 or 11 years old. And it was like Eminem's White album, the first one that had just come out, right? It's crazy.
Right.
And we weren't allowed to listen to it. It's the whole thing about like him not being allowed on the radio, and we come from a Christian household, right? And it was like, you can't be listening to that. My brother and I would sneak off with the CD and go hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess every genre, generation kind of has that if you think about it. And really, to that point, every genre now, you know what I mean? Kiss and things like that, you know.
It's wild to think about. That's why we go back, you know?
Yeah.
We reminisce over this old stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then moving forward, like when you lock in at the studio or like when you perform, what do you want people to feel from your performances?
I mean, I could keep it simple and say energy, but I would say like, to be more descript, I would say like, what's the word? I'm like the emphasis on the energy would be like an existential mood, not just energy, but like almost like anger, but peeled back with a message behind it. And that's not to say what I'm rapping about, because every song can be different. I can't think of the word right now though, but it's like just intensity. But then I want that to invoke thoughts, because I use a lot of conscious or lyrical rap certain times, and I want people to understand what I'm saying, because a lot of it sounds simple and there's textures and layers sometimes. And then behind that, emotion, because I think that would motion and compel people to use the thoughts to act progressively and think progressively.
Nice. Yeah, talk to the people about that a little bit, because you got into that a little bit, how with this award and stuff, and how you're moving towards this other type of like rap, if you want to call it that, right? Where you're like trying to get that, I don't know what you even called it. It was like more of like the classic techniques or something that you're adding into your sound now, right? Are we good?
So
I'll ask
wherever you want to go.
We'll restart it, yeah. So you're in the car now because the phone was dying, so we're gonna get a little bit of a different sound out of you, but we're still here. We're with you guys today. It's all good. I love it, bro. Okay, so we were talking about, the question was, and it wasn't really a question. It was more of like, you've made this move towards like this authenticity, this like putting into your raps, like this technique that you were talking to me about, right? And not just like this random flow that a lot of people are using, right? Talk a little bit more about that with like I don't even remember what you called it. The triple something?
Well, it's a triplet poetical format in the song Breaking Free. And that is, look, let me back up. I get you. I need to allude to that. It's very important. But why I'm here and what I'm doing, what I'm intending to do with music, I can't just go around and tell everybody they should do it, because they're not going to listen. They're not going to understand it. They're not going to be thinking the same. But I genuinely feel like why I'm here and the ideas and the goals that I have and aspirations have nothing or little to do with money, success, fame, etc. I actually believe in redeveloping, not restructuring, like changing, but redeveloping hip hop and rap. And that's what I was starting to say when my speaker went out. I don't know what happened there. And it alludes to similar type thesis, but I'm wanting to put poetical formats, not like every song. I've got beat and genre ideas, and I want to expand, so that's not all hoopity hoopla, hippity ha, cuss guns rob. You know what I mean? Like in every song, it's cool. I get it. I've been through that. That's why I get it. That's how I know. You know what I'm saying? But it's not very like conducive to long-term sustainable success. And I'll give you an example of that. How many genres are in rap that you can name that have been there? Like you can think of all the rock genres that have been through the ages that are still around. Not many, right? West Coast, Third Coast, it's still there, but it's not really there, in my opinion, like it was. You know what I mean? And I think that's I'm not really blaming rap for that. I think that there's a lot to that politically that we won't speak on right now. So I've invented concepts and ideas to reconfigure and make it okay to be clean, or not just hoopla hoopla, and also adding poetical influences, styles, and formats instead of free verse or freestyle in every song. So that just covers it shortly. But what I was saying was like, I like to take like the idea, the concept that I was born in the 80s, raised in like the 90s, that sound and that pureness and newness of hip hop and the lyrical abilities and texture and everything and storytelling like Nas, which I love. And then put that around like 2010, 2015, 2020. You know what I mean? And I don't think a lot of people do that, specifically, and especially the rap, because I mean, not many people are my age that do it, but you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's crazy. And like, you know, the funny thing is I've seen this move lately towards like that cleaner sound, like less swearing and stuff in the music.
No,
Being
I
more
agree.
intentional with what you're actually talking about, right?
A lot. I've seen it a lot lately. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, man. I gotta say, I am too. You know, it's a great thing actually to get back to the music again and not just that like drugs, money, and bitches thing. You know.
Right. You know what I compare it to? If the Lakers win a championship doing, well, we'll use the Bulls because that's an easy example. If the Bulls win a championship running a triangle offense or whatever, then other teams are going to try to copycat that to aid their success. And that's why, it's another reason why, for me, it's not important about the success. It's about the process and the growth, because everything that's not growing is dying. And right now, like, aside from the people that are catching on, D1, Lil Kari, and all these artists, not all those Christian ones, those are Christian ones, but the people that are ability to go think outside the box and do something differently, everybody else is dying. They're dying, literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, for real, man. And you know what? It's always been that way with like the radio, especially, right? Like I know we don't have the radio as like in cars, it's still pretty popular, right? But like there was rules like with the radio and television commissions, right? You couldn't just like keep swearing all the time on it. You had to send them clean versions of everything, right?
Yeah. And that's something I find interesting, which my song was unintentionally clean. Sometimes I do them clean intentionally. That's something I find very interesting. You're right about that. I was thinking you were talking about just like fads and trends as far as what's popular and what's not. But you got a good point, because look at it. All of us, we can make every song have every bar a cuss word because it's all going on Spotify. Who cares?
Right.
But is that really going to reach where you want it to reach and as far as you want it to reach and be a message that you want to be heard? You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. Getting back to that message again, right? It's getting back to why are we actually writing the music for?
Right.
Yeah, so crazy, bro. I love it. Okay, so tell me, what's one song or project of yours that represents who you are right now?
I could easily say Breaking Free, but since I've been plugging that, and like I haven't really given equal due respect to my song called Difference, which is very deep, and you know, you might catch it as religious, but I tried to format it's more spirit. I don't talk about Jesus or nothing, but I am who I am, so it might come off and imprint a certain way. But it's about differences, not in people, but what we're trying to do out here. And you're not trying to make a difference in people, you're trying to make a difference for people. You get what I'm saying? And it's kind of deep in that type of layered thinking that everybody has a plan, like not, but everybody also has like more or less a calling in their life or whatever, you know what I mean? And I really don't think that we identify the two. I think that we identify the two together and they're not the same thing. So we get twisted, you know what I mean? And I feel like I know what my purpose is, but the cool part is I found out recently that it doesn't have to be music to get me there. There's other ways that you can have a purpose and accomplish them doing different things. But it's about the meaning of things, pretty much, that song, Difference. And it's on the Pressure EP. I think it's a really special and really different album. It's mostly clean now that we're talking about that.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. I'm going to listen to it right after this when it comes out.
Make it up. Different.
Yeah, man. That's sick.
Yeah.
You know what? I've actually been going through this realization myself because I told you I haven't had a job since May, right? So it's like, how do you make money? How do you be effective? What is your purpose?
Right.
Why are you here, right?
Because it's not about what they want us to do or what we want to do. It's about what we're supposed to be doing naturally. Yeah, you get it, bro. But we have to do what's in the middle.
It's crazy. Yep. It's totally not even musical based in any way. Like I'm a mix engineer, but here I am over there like shooting a business documentary. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I feel
And
like
it still gets you to where you need to be.
right.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's like an awakening almost, you know?
Right.
Okay, so on that vein, they say every artist evolves over time, right? So like how has your sound process and mindset changed from when you first started making music?
Well, that's honestly, look, remember when I told you when we was first talking when I first jumped on here, I was like, they're not hard, challenging questions, like difficult to think about, but they're just technical. You know what I'm saying? And I like them, and I really like them for a lot of reasons, not just for me thinking about it. But to answer that, man, I can't tell you a direct forward answer because I had these ideas, and when I started releasing with New World Anthem, which did surprisingly well, blessed on that, and that first album of mine, Ye Tales of Old, well, it was a lot of different outside the box stuff. So it wasn't 2020s rap or even 1990s rap, you know what I mean, necessarily. So really nobody identified with it, and they weren't told in their head to be called to listen to that because it's not what they're used to. So I had to kind of go around the bend and kind of come back and do it how I knew it and what I grew up on a little bit, but find ways to connect to this generation so that it was still stably like valid or whatnot. And that's an OG. He don't know what he's talking about. Because I tell you, I guarantee I'm still struggling out here right now, and I guarantee I didn't end. I chose to end that stuff a long time ago, but sometimes things follow you and things aren't easy. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is like I'm not out of the loop as much as people probably think I am for being my age. But so see, I had to come all the way back around to get not the recognition, but to recognize where I need to be at. So it's the influence of other things that I can put together and structure it in a non-selfish way that seems to be working, because I feel like one of the songs we're going to play later in here, Incarcerated, and other songs, I really think I've gotten considerably better lately, just to say that bluntly. You know what I mean? Which is crazy because I've been doing this for so long.
Maybe, I think we're going to hear that one first, bro.
All
Unless
right.
we're going to play the other one. Maybe we're going to, I think we're going to hear that one first.
That's great. I mean, it's a great idea. You know what I mean? Because this content is still going to be.
Yeah, just before we go and do that, I was just going to see, like, that's why we asked this question is, like, you're, like, older than, like, the generation growing up right now, and it's, like, remaining relevant to these people, right? And all that work that goes on behind the scenes mentally as an artist to, like, actually get your message across to a totally different cabinet of people now, right, than you used to. It's crazy, man.
I can't say that it doesn't cross my mind, because that would be fake as well. But let me tell you, what you said is so poetic on this day and age. I don't think how other people are supposed to think so that I can speak how they want to hear ever. But I do understand how I'm heard, and I try to evolve that so that what I say can be understood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is I ain't trying to change to nobody's generation. Because like I said, it ain't about a fad or the fame or whatever. Like I need the money. I ain't gonna lie. So it's about that. But that's not, you know what I'm saying? I just, but at the same time, I don't care what people think. That would be fake. You know what I mean? That would be fake. Everybody cares a little bit. So yeah, but I feel you. That was a great point. But I just wanted to point that out, that you don't have to abide by that. It's a poetic substructure of today's mentality. It's a presumed notion for people, like empaths. Everybody's an empath. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's like that fatty thing going on, right? With like that new age.
Right.
Idea. Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Yep.
Well, yo, let's hear Incarceration. I think we're gonna go and play it. Tell us a little bit about it before we air it.
I wrote it 2 or 3 days ago. Recorded it overnight that night. I was throwing on a mixtape, and I wanted to put something new on there. And I literally listened. Here's the crazy part about it. I was like looking for ideas, so I'm shopping my notebooks, and I took a song, Genocide or Genocidal, something, I don't know what it's called. It never came out. It was going to be around my first album, and it's the second verse. The third verse is more or less me freestyling. I had 3 freestyles, bar over bar, but it was clouded up with the third one, so I took the third one out. So there's two freestyles bouncing off each other at the end of the song, and the beginning of the song was basically something I wrote that I never used, and I liked it, so I matched it to a beat. And then the hook is some random something I wrote down like a hook, but I don't know what it was for or when I wrote it. So I just tapped it. It's literally, yeah, it's one of the crazier stories in my opinion. Not triplet poetical format, none of that. This is a wild put together. You know what I mean? It was a wild put up. You feel me?
Yeah.
So we put it up. You know what I'm saying?
Let's hear it.
But yeah,
let's just go through it,
yeah. All
right. Yeah, Robin Hood of Rhyme back in the studio. Rhyme, Rich, repeat. I was told that this still ain't shows, so I said, give me the microphone. I got something to let y'all know. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. About to let off this fire flow. Liquor spit like hot lava, you know. Strictly opposite of a fire hose. The opposition can barely breathe. I'ma have them taking in all the smoke. So you best get your breathing apparatus on. Trying to be sure that you don't choke. You know, it's surely a hazard competing with me. I'm not your average MC. Been in the game since around the 90s. I'm spitting flames. Truly an experienced rapper, man. Savage like a lyrical technician with a 9 in my hand. But ready to aim it any second. I count back and squeeze and let it go. Pop, pop. Hot like a barrel spitting hollow tip ammunition in my bars. But none of them empty like the words of these many mumble rappers are. So I'ma have to incarcerate them behind my bars. It's just ridiculous. Y'all spit shit so bad, I'm wiping off the whole mic just to start with it. So let's get it. The genocidal lines of rap. Some of y'all crap out. Must have caused you to lose a chromosome on the way out your ass, you retard. Dropping off bars one by one. Embarrassing though, you couldn't hold that shit and build it in suspense with a pen like you wanted it all. You wanted it all. Self-control involved, and that's a loss, dog. So I guess you paid the cost to be the motherfucking boss. Synthetic scenery, digressing barely literally is a depiction of the dichotomy of your whack ass rhymes. My drips immaculately full of hyperboles every time. Basic facts, so it's hard to refine. When you can't cope with me, so take back your dollar general rap. Here, take a back receipt. Hot like a barrel spitting hollow tip ammunition in my bars. But none of them empty like the words of these many mumble rappers are. So I'ma have to incarcerate them behind my bars. So just give me the keys to the block, like the keys to the city. I dig it, told you I've been with it. I'm just saying, my shit drops immaculately full of hyperboles every time. Basic fact. So it's hard to fuck with that. Y'all better not scale back, I'm telling y'all facts. That's what's the truth. I do what I do. I move like a domino. Matching nausea, that's a fact. 4 to 10 assassins. Arch my path with my feet. Made many films, but never intentionally. Just from the fuck shit that goes on behind the scenes. It's always 100 with me. 10 stars. Do my thing independently. I keep so I can continue to rise to my feet resiliently. Cause I'm a king. They rhymes quietly. Cause this is just not checking too deep. So quit playing like y'all don't understand. I do this cause I'm a man. Pretending it's just a game. Stylistics grown out in today. Play that shit. It's hustle grind with God every day, little bitch.
Welcome back to the Put Up, everybody. You just heard Incarcerated by Robin Hood of Rhyme. It's a crazy track, eh? But yeah, just before when we were out there,
I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm sorry?
I was gonna say before what? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say just before when we were talking about it. Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm gonna be touring, not touring, but we got out playing live this year, like in 2025, there for the first time ever. And now we're just gonna keep it going for the rest of it. That's it.
Hey, I'll be honest, bro. Like it's for the love, but it's for the actual activity that it gets kind of hard to stop. You start. And like I've had times where I'm like frustrated with certain things I won't go over right now, and I'm like, man, dude, I'm just gonna quit. But like my emotion, my like, you know, energy will keep me like literally keep me going.
Yeah.
But it's fun, dude, and it's all worth it. You know what I mean?
But yeah, Incarcerated. So tell us another story about that one, because that's some crazy shit that you did it that fast, bro.
Okay, so the second verse, you said like, yeah, that's crazy, da da da, and I didn't want to speak on it because I don't really want to give away the sauce. But there's a lot of heavy ass words with deep meaning, respectfully, that could be, when you put those two things together, they could be kind of like, they're very true, but they could be taken very, with a lot of feeling, like I said about how I like to be perceived when I perform, a lot of intensity, you know what I mean? Based on what I was talking about. And you might not have caught it the first time, whoever listens to it, but I advise you listen to the second verse again. I'm also about to create a song called Fuck the Streets. Alludes to all that, man, because I've been through it all too. Buying into something that is a temporary way out is not a meaningful solution. So I talk about the genocidal lines of rap, and that'll be your hint as to what to cue in on next time you listen to it. But I use the RETARD word that we used to use when I was young. You know what I'm saying? And I say the genocidal lines of rap, some of y'all crap out, must have caused you to lose a chromosome on the way out your ass, you retard. And it's stupid, it's funny, but the purpose of the meaning is why I went so crazy on that one. I think it's pretty it's literally scientifically true, but it's also funny, so it's weird.
Yeah, and it's a thing happening in society right now, right? It's crazy to think
Right.
about. Yeah, man. Okay, so what's a misconception that everybody has of you as an artist?
Man, I struggle with that one too, because I really don't know, because I would think, A, that people probably think I'm not serious, or B, and that would probably run along with A to a degree. It's an ageism thing, so they probably think I'm putting on or something like that. But like I was explaining, I was gracefully able to explain through your bridge into the conversation about the purpose and the ideas that I have as to why I'm here. It's not because I think I'm the best rapper, and I think that's probably a misconception people have, that they probably think that I'm the bee's knees or whatever. But that ain't it, man. That ain't always what it's about. I think J. Cole, for example, showed us that in his ability to just maneuver aside from certain circumstances with Drake and Kendrick before all that stuff was just unnecessarily blown out of proportion, and just take one to the chin, be humble about it, go be a man, and come back on his own route. Now, the same doesn't apply, but like at the same time, it's the same mentality I have, that people probably really don't know, A, who I am, what I've been through, so they shouldn't put it on me, but that I'm really serious about why I'm here, that I'm not just here blowing smoke.
Literally, eh?
Literally. I was thinking the same thing, bro. I'll walk right into this. I don't even know what that means. It's my angel number type. I'm a Gemini, so it's my angel word. I just tie in these metaphors, these literal, I don't know, bro. It's crazy. The second or third time it's happened on this show, just in case you didn't know.
There you go. See? It's meant to be. That's it.
And you get it. I like it.
Okay, so who would you say has like influenced you outside of music the most in your life?
I don't think that my major influences are relevant to this, because they were kind of picked to a degree, some of them. I'll give you an example, Alexander the Great. That doesn't apply here except for work ethic, but it does apply in that philosophies and stoicisms keep me grounded, and it also keeps me in touch with reality in terms of things like, we'll call them conspiracy theories, whatever, you know what I mean? Things that are backdoored or less talked about. It keeps me also grounded in the reality that you have to self-check. Fact-checking is and never was a thing, because a fact-checker is an opinion giver, and we all have opinions, and they're just like, they all stink. You know what I mean? It's just like something else we all got. So
you know the term. Everybody knows the term.
Who's the fact checker? If the fact checker's liberal, if the fact checker's Republican, you know what I mean? It's two. You know what I mean? Burn one head, you know what I mean? So it's all about not. It's honestly not about serving Paul and Mammon and all those things, and you can get above all that, and it's easier to find ways to interpret those wholly in spirit instead of up here, like in the world. You know what I mean? And I know that's deep, and that's not really one of the best of the reality of it. And that's how, as you get older, you learn you have to think. It's more of like stay in tune and to defend, you know what I'm saying, who you are.
Well, and I think that's like for younger people that'll watch this, that's a very important thing, right? To hear from somebody that's been through life a little longer, right? And it has got to that point where you now transition to like that more spiritual side of things, right?
Yeah, we could do a whole show on shit I've been through. You know what I mean? And we would run out of
shit I've been through.
We'd go through the last 2 years, maybe if we're lucky, and the amount of time that we have on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? We all go through, you know.
Yeah, that's wild, man. We've all been through different things, but it like just equally as impactful for other people to hear about. You know what I mean?
And not only that, but in their reality, I'm going to give you an example. I found this to be relevant in a spiritual manner. It doesn't mean that it's true in God or whatever you believe, if this is how it lines up for you. But like, for an example, all men are created equal. Just that context, right? The golden rule, whatever. So all men are created equal is based on the premises that we all have the same skills and attributes if we hone in on them. But I think it's more like, in the end of the day, at the end of time, when we reach beyond where we are in this cage that we're in, if you will, or this reality, we're all going to have had upsetting and positive things happen to us to the same degree. And what I mean by that is I've been to prison, I've been divorced, I've drug addiction back in the past, a lot of stuff, right? Shootouts, you know what I mean? But my stepdad didn't go through none of that. But at a certain point, he caught cancer, lymphatic cancer. So it's like all they can do is treat it. They can't take it out because it's literally coursing through his veins because of lymphatic. And it took his life early. But, you know, that situation and what everything I put them through and was going through and turning my curve at that point in time, and I'm not taking responsibility for this, but because it was his knowledge and it was God's work. But he became Christian shortly before that, you know what I'm saying, and found his God. He didn't really have one. That's why it's relevant that he became Christian, not because Christian's the only answer. You know what I'm saying? But so what I'm saying is, like, I've been through all this stuff and I struggle on the daily, but I'm graced and blessed in so many ways, and I'm still alive and relatively, if I may say so myself, decently handsome for everything I've been through. I could look a lot worse. You know what I mean? And so it's like my health and things. And then he lost all that in like 5 years, you know what I mean? And it's gone. And he was a successful man and everything else, you know what I mean? So that's what I mean by, like, all created equal. You feel what I'm saying now, based off of what you said?
You know what? And because I've been to jail too, actually. And it's like,
right.
I didn't find out the real reason why, I'll say God put me there. I put myself there, obviously, you know what I mean? But I didn't, I was literally like, I just had this epiphany through like watching one of those like TikTok people the other day. And it's like this whole, if I would have kept going on the road I was on, I wouldn't be doing this right now. The Wizard wouldn't exist. Nothing that I have accomplished since then in the past 5 years would even exist today. Now
we sacrifice stability. We sacrifice stability for impressing people, for fun, and for instant gratification, which is a big one these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's what we do. And it's mistakes, like you said. No matter whose mistake it was, we did somehow put ourselves there. And when we learn to recognize those patterns of behavior, we can remove ourselves from all that stuff I was just talking about, and again, put away childish things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and get to that purpose point of why we're here. You know, I love it. It's ethereal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. We were up here. That's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's past that. It's a consciousness, though. That's all it is right now. You know what I mean? We'll get there.
Yeah, man. Okay, so let's talk about like music and when you're writing. I don't even know. Have you ever hit a creative block? And what do you do?
Bro, that's
what you do, right?
That's what I thought whenever, you know what I'm saying, when I read that question. And I have, but I've been so, again, blessed and lucky in that it's never been something where I can't sit down and write necessarily, at least not for unequivocally or damaging amount of time. but the creative purpose and the, like, maybe like, I'm not great at making hooks, so that's part of it. I'm got better, but like the design of the purpose, or like the message behind what I'm saying, sometimes can be difficult to straddle, if you will. But the actual ability to create is always, and that's maybe a weak point of mine, because I put some things out that, looking back, if I was on a major label, I probably wouldn't have put out. But that's the blessings and the grace of doing this independently, I guess, too, at the same time.
You get the decision, right? That's it.
Right. And I can put what I want to put out. So I want to put something about the Tower of Babel being placed in modern times, like I did on the song Babel on my first album, at the end of the album, which is a wild ride, but you really got to probably pay too much attention. You know what I mean? For most listeners, it's a wild ride based on that, like, because the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me on this later, doesn't say this happened in, 200 BC or whatever, right? It just says it happened. So what's to say it's not either ongoing, cyclical, or hasn't happened yet and it's happening now? In theory.
Here's an interesting one for you. They're actually have erected or are in the process of erecting 12 of them worldwide.
Erecting what?
Towers of Babel, like replicas of them.
12 of them?
I'm pretty sure 12 of them.
I would think that would be something we would do these days, because our structure, creativity, and abilities have gone so far. Like the tower in Dubai is ridiculous. You know what I mean?
So
it's like
going on, right?
a challenge it's like a challenge. Like here, I don't really love science, because scientists can challenge, opinionate, and sometimes therefore slightly skew things a little bit, in my opinion. So it's the same thing with like engineering. They want a challenge, so they can go build an upside down boat, and that's a building. You know what I mean? Or whatever. It's just something different. It's like our creativity, but theirs is more based in what we call and consider fact. Ours is just considered make believe, if you will, or creativity.
Well, and it's interesting. You get to this point where you're like, has everything been done? Right?
Right.
Like everything's been created, everything's been invented, like especially for inventors these days. You're like, damn it, AI is going to take over and shit, and then like what's left? Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. AI, I'm not feeling that, to be honest. I mean, it's cool, but it's something that you can't moderate quick enough and realistically enough and honestly enough. It's just, and it's already out of control. Think about how many memes or videos or whatever you see every day that you have to go, oh yeah, that's fake.
Real? Right. Exactly.
Every day, 12 times, you know what I mean? And that's cool if it was an isolated incident, but it's the norm now. And we haven't adjusted mentally to it being the norm, but it's what it is. We might have, but I haven't.
You know what? Actually, it's sparked creativity for me in a way, because I'm doing videography too and stuff, right? And it's like, what can I create that seems impossible to do on a camera, but actually was? You know what I mean?
But can become a reality, right? And see, That's kind of what I was saying. If we had like come at it from a different angle, other than whoever created it, put it out, kind of like I said about my music, and done it differently and evolved it differently, and incorporated into bits and little pieces and microchips into things, it was great. Obviously, it would still be AI, but if you could apportion it, then perhaps it could have been more moderatable to a degree, to where it wouldn't just be slap in your face. It could be something that somebody used. And instead, we're going to have this situation coming down the road where it is the end all be all, and everybody's jobs are going to have to adapt to it versus the other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my opinion. That's my opinion, though. I think it's of the devil, or not really necessarily, but yeah, I think it's pretty much evil in the long run, the end of humanity.
Or like a cop out at this point. A lot of people talk about it as being like this, like simplification of reality or whatever, you know? Where it's like everything's automated and fake at that point, right?
Right, like people who believe like in like the matrix theory or like the simulation theory should definitely think that way. And if they think that way, why wouldn't they think what I just said, that that's a virus or a whatever they would call it, but it wouldn't be a positive entity. You see what I'm saying? In that thought pattern of that reality, if that's how you know what I'm saying. What she thinks. I don't know. Not to me, it wouldn't anyway. But yeah.
Okay, so what's been like the most unexpected lesson that you've learned being an artist so far?
I kind of said it earlier, and I don't really have a way to say it. I just actually posted it yesterday or something, and I think it's this. I think it's that no matter how good you are, aside from, as we found out, I'll blow this top off this one, sometimes money and who you know, but aside from how good you are, or like what your purpose is, or how long you've been doing it, if you're not consistent and realistic and within the boundaries and scopes of where you would be if you had made it, act as if. And that being said, in the eyes of social media and your peers, so on and so forth, your fans, but also in the realm of having everything together structure-wise as a business and everything, then it doesn't matter how, like, you just got, basically I'm saying, the whole consistency thing that people used to say, Ellipse, shout out, and like whoever else said it, Amar Monroe, shout out, all these people, and I was like, yeah, I get it, but how really, this is so important to them, and I get it, you know what I mean? If they're right, because, you know, when you, it's act as if, be as if, when you get somewhere, if you're not having the habits that's required to carry that forward, then it's not going to have done you any good to get there. Kind of like, for example, if you are a one-hit wonder and then you crash out and do some dumb whatever, or get lazy and don't make any more music, you wasted your time getting to the top.
It's true. You know what? I see consistency as you being here today with me again. You know what I mean? It's been what?
Yeah, and I
think something since we were on there last, right?
Yeah, I think it's been like 9 months or something, man.
Yeah, almost a year, man. That's consistent.
Yeah,
the ability to still be doing the same thing a year later. That's it.
The ability to network close enough to make engagements, but distantly enough to not bother or interfere or overwhelm yourself or the other person is a skill as well.
Yeah.
That goes with consistency.
Actually. You know, it's that long period of time piece of like, are you doing the same thing you were doing 5 years ago? Like working toward that same lifestyle or the same purpose that you were like envisioning back then? You know what I mean? You haven't like totally flipped to something brand new, right?
Not only are you staying true to yourself, but also I think what you just said as well would be like, if you created a 5-year goal, which we all have been kind of trained to do in school and things like that, are you following through with what you said 5 years ago, or are you going to get there in 5 years and say, did I make it? You know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of what you're saying, and that's part of the consistency as well.
You know,
it's
the
a good point.
Part for me? And you're right. We've been like hard trained to like set 5-year goals inside of like employment, inside of schools, inside of everything of our life, our entire lives, right? Across the board. It doesn't matter what country you're in, whatever, right? But I'm living proof that we can say this. We set a 5-year goal, and we're at like year 8 right now. You know what I mean? It didn't happen in 5 so far.
that part. But also, it's important and I haven't really figured out the requirements, the prerequisites for this skill, but I'm sure it exists, and you can maybe back me up on this or give me your opinion on it. But the ability to establish in a moment, when you get to a point, establish, leave it alone. So what I'm saying is, like, when you saw that chair that you're sitting in and you knew that your figure, your puppet put on top of it would be the perfect setting, you got that chair, you established it, you left it alone. Now that's an example, but the underlying would be things that we tackle mentally or like in our career that don't necessarily have like a physical representation that we can refer to. And I think being aware of those and then setting them after you set the goal to match the goal and leave them alone will keep you balanced in actually achieving the goal long term, I would imagine. Because that's kind of what I'm seeing in the progress of my, my progress.
Yeah, like for instance, like I think I was on a different interview. I was actually being interviewed by a guy named Zach Juggalo on the Hip Hop Radar Underground, right? I could hook you up with him actually. That'd be cool.
Word.
But yeah, he was asking me, he's like, where's the one place you want to perform or whatever if you ever got the chance, right? And I was like, bro, I've always had this like inner drive or inner will that I would be in front of like 60,000 people one day up on a stage. You know what I mean? And it's like, how many
Right.
venues even hold that many people, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it's
Good
that entire thing of like I'm always gonna have that goal until I get there. It doesn't matter if it's 20 years from now, right?
Because you'll be able to see the goal when the opportunity presents itself to you, and that's kind of what I was saying. You're established at that point to where it's not like a stadium show was it, because you know the size, and so when you see it or you see options that fit that, you'll know that could be it.
Right.
Yeah, that's
it will literally be
well,
something telling me there's the spot that you were supposed to be at. You know what I mean?
right, man, and that's awesome, bro. Because that's kind of what I was talking. You hit the nail on the head. That's kind of the point of the skill set that I was talking about. Being able to establish things, leave them alone, and continue on. You know what I mean? That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, because there's so many things that I have to do in a day-to-day basis, even recording put-ups like we're doing. You know what I mean? Like this kind of stuff, and it's like that's not getting me to that stage. In a sense, it is, right? In another sense, you're just going about your motions that you have to do anyways, right? And you still got to have that thing in the back of your head that never changes, that rock solid goal set, right?
Right. It's like a piece of a puzzle, and you're working on the bridge. Well, you see a piece of the puzzle, you could still put it on if you know where it fits, but it might not be the bridge, but it's still a part of the bigger picture, you know? Yeah, definitely.
Well, yo, we're going to hear another one of your tracks, actually.
Yeah, what was the other one I said?
The second one up is called Back in the Dungeon.
Oh, okay. Yeah, look, real quick. This is, it's a feature with a guy named Cynic. He's on, when he's out, it's like X underscore Cynic underscore X, but it's different. But he's awesome. He's really good. Y'all pay attention to him just much. And it was on my album I was actually going to drop on the 31st, and something didn't clear because I had the credits wrong. The credits wrong because one of my songs is already out, so I got to redrop it. So it'll be out, I don't know, sometime in January. If y'all like it, pay attention. Follow me. And Cynic. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's roll it.
But it's the first on that album.
Sometimes I get sick of the fake shit and the weak shit, and it feels like I've been doing this for ages. Back in the dungeon, you're back in the basement. Most of you mother rappers can't outpace me. Spitting these fake raps, y'all just basic. Now I move over, it's time for your replacement. I heard you wanna battle me, that's a laugh. First you gotta face me. As you said, so I aim with the beam, extended banana clip, holding the magazine. Double shots with a pump, like a semi-automatic shotgun to the gut. When machete cuts smooth through you like Jason does. I'm a savage, what? Chewing through my own tongue just to rap and get my words out that you're average, you're whack. And I'm back in the dungeon, yeah, I'm back in the basement. Most of you mumble rappers can't outpace me. Spitting these fake raps, y'all was basic. Now I move over, it's time for your replacement. I heard you wanna battle me, that's a laugh. First you gotta face me. Robin Hood of rhyme, southern stylistics, ENT every time. That's why I
back from the dungeon. Chains click with my cadence. That smoke inside my lungs got me feeling like I'm summoning hatred. Vigils on the wall, they start to glow when I start to glow. My flow is like a hex, got you froze up on your feet. I just roll back like I'm chanting the demons. I'm channeling demons. I know I spit fire right when I'm breathing. My tongue spits plagues and my heart's still beating. I crucify beats. I don't pray for release, believe it.
Back in the dungeon, yeah, I'm back in the basement. Most of you mumble rappers can't outpace me. Spitting these fake raps, y'all is basic. Now I move over, it's time for your replacement.
As heavy as the head, so I unleash these beastly hordes of lyrics into these melodies. Didn't even ask to lead, it's how I was born. So crown me before a force. The lips of swarms of evil spirits darker than the souls of Mordor. Prince of Horrorcore, who's the key to unlock the door? So they say they want more. Souls screaming allegiance that they just can't afford. So they pay the price of their spiritual war. Their souls.
Back in the dungeon, yeah, I'm back in the basement. Most of you mumble rappers can't outpace me. Spitting these fake raps, y'all is basic. Now I move over, it's time for your replacement. I heard you wanna battle me, that's a laugh. First you gotta face me.
Robin Hood, they will mind me when I'm bored.
That's why A.K.A. Cynic.
Cool battle game, y'all know it.
Welcome back to the Put Up, everybody. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe below if you haven't. And go follow my boy, Robin Hood of Rhyme, over here, too, if you haven't done that. And yeah, before we go anywhere, sign up sheet for the put up. If you're an artist looking to get into this seat over here, there's a sign up sheet down below here. There's also a sign up sheet in my link tree on Instagram, and pretty much everywhere you look, you can find it. So yeah, all you got to do is sign up, and then we'll get you in and we'll get you on the show. What was that? Oh yeah, yo, Robin Hood, bro. We're gonna start an open verse challenge for the intro beat of the put up, bro. And we're gonna see who can take it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I can feel that because that tells me the vibe it needs to be on to fit the bill too. You know what I'm saying? That's cool.
Right. Yeah, man. So we're gonna release the track of it, just like the instrumental soon, and then you'll be able to just hit your own verse on it and see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I'm down. I know several people on the socials that I'm sure will do that too.
Right?
I don't
Yo,
want to
can't wait
say
to hear. Oh, I love it. Okay, let's jump back into the interview, bro. It should be great. Okay, so like, what role does being live in the studio? Sorry, I gotta restart that, bro. Okay, but like being live in the studio, what role does that play when you're like on the mic performing a track compared to like recorded music, right? When you're going to connect with the artists and the fans listening and everybody, how do you compare like a live performance on the stage to that recorded stuff? Like, are you trying to accomplish the same thing to connect with the fans, or is there a different approach there?
Well, first of all, let's realize that this is all done auditorially. So if it's not the same thing, then you're chasing dragons to some degree. Like, for example, you're not putting enough energy in the studio and enough seriousness in the studio, or maybe you're being too flashy and dramatic with your performance that overwhelms the actual song. But I digress. That's all I had. But what I actually thought you were saying was the reverse of that. And that's funny because that's going to be my answer is that, I've never been one for stage fright. I'm outgoing, social, always have been, and I have fears. We all have fears, but my fears are not relative to like anxiety and social norms as much as a lot of people are, especially these days. And with that being said, I never really had like I performed in front of 250, maybe a little bit more people was the most. And I was like, honestly, more excited about the connectivity of the room and the ability to diagnose the environment and be a part of it, kind of like you would think a Gemini to do, than I was worried about what was going to happen and this and that and the other, or was I going to, or whatever people think about stage fright wasn't there in my mind. But the crazy part about that, what I'm getting at, dude, I'm more scared of the studio, like not of going, but like the perfecting it, because that's the lasting impression. Our performance is heard one time, it's gone.
True.
Now, granted, there's some weight to that because everybody in that room has the potential to be a new fan.
And they're holding
take that seriously.
They're recording that shit too.
All that. But what I'm saying is when people look you up based on that, they're going to hear the recording that you did in the studio.
100%.
And something about that isolation when I'm in there brings a super duper focus on me, but there's also super duper ADHD scatterbrain on not my thought, being able to hold on to my thoughts, but just the ideas are kind of floating around like freaking, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. It's intense. It's probably what people feel like when they're like stage fright. You know what I mean? I'd have to think about how to explain what it's like a little bit more. Maybe somebody could say, yeah, that's it, or not. You know what I mean? But
something to think about, man. The fact that you can feel the same way as a person scared on stage inside there, right?
Right. Yeah, because I know that everything I do right there is done electronically. Everything I've done in person, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm performing, I can correct that on the spot. But once I put that on that track, I'm either going to have to pay to redo it, or it's going to come out shitty, or like, and I and it's not that bad now, but that was it for me when it was like I was new to the studio. You know what I mean? Plus, I had years and years of battle and hype man and all that, so it wasn't even comparable. You know what I mean? I'd never really been to studios until not that long ago.
Yeah, that's wild to think that. Yo, tell everybody about that award thing that you just went and performed on stage at.
Yeah, it was I think Cradle. It was Cradle Records, associated to Sony and some other record label. I don't remember the name of. It was in Philadelphia. Hulk, Sony Hulk Radio is the app, and they got like I think it's Hulk Radio podcast or something. They had so many names. I'm trying to do them service and remember all of them. You know what I mean? But anyway, the whole thing was they do like, I think it's semi-annually award show, and then there was a lot of awards. There's an award for like every state, and then there's like other awards for like each genre and things like that. And I got like a newcomer, like best newcomer award. I was up for against another guy that had a song with like, who was it? Yo Gotti and 8Ball MJ, all kind of people from Memphis on his track. I don't know, whatever. And he won like best song in Tennessee over me. And then the other one I was up for was like best rap song with like 5 other people for Breaking Free. And I didn't win either of those, but I got the like a newcomer award against like a couple other people. Newcomer of the year or whatever. And shout out to Electric Magazine that's doing that. Electric Music Magazine on Twitter. I'm apparently a finalist in that. I don't really know what's going on with it or expect to win, but I made it to a finalist for their Unsigned Artist for the Year. Like, dang, I don't know if I'm going to win it, so I'm not saying that, but it was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool experience for that, too.
These little tiny milestones, just to
Right.
let you right, you know.
It validates. It wasn't even about the award. It validates everything that everybody's telling me I can't do is being done. Like, and I knew it was being done, so I appreciate those people. In Philadelphia, they were great. It was a great experience. I've never traveled that far to do a show, and everybody was cool. Like, you know, you get the vibe in the South, like everybody be from the South, that you're nice and friendly because you're from the South. But I had a good time up there for the same way. Like, they were all nice and chill and real. You know what I mean? And I appreciate the opportunity. You know.
Okay, and it leads me right into my next question, bro. How does like the fans, the community of this all, collaborators, like the local scene, even that other scene that you entered into that night, how does this all shape the way you make your art?
How does it shape the way what?
Like when you go to create a song, how does all of this like interaction, going to these places, collaborations, all that stuff, how does that shape you?
Right, how am I influenced by either
Right.
people around me or fans or whatever? Well, you know, that's an evolving question, and that's a good question. It's a really good question, actually. And I think it's probably one a lot of people would like to hear. And I wish I could give, like, a more definite answer, but I would definitely say when I network, either intentionally or unintentionally, and I meet someone and we rub ideas, I never take that idea, but, like, think about it like this way, like, imprint, right? What I see between those two things, I've invited other artists in the past. It hasn't panned out with the one guy. I should probably reach out to him. But that I see where we're going as similar, and I was trying to like put us on the same path. But people have personalities, and it's hard to you can't overdo networking and purpose, and you also can't listen to everything a fan wants you to do, because then you're going to get off track. But at the same time, it's definitely important to let those things bounce around in your head like you're in the studio and you are afraid you're going to choke on your own bars that you should know every line to. So with that being said, I allow that to reassess my creative impulse or thoughts or output, if you will, which it becomes my output. And I decide if it does channel into what I'm already trying to do. And if it does, I get creative within that process to add to like a kind of like a influence my own style, if you will.
Yeah,
Not change my style to be like somebody else or be like a man, but you feel what I'm saying? To evolve it, I guess I'll say, and come up with new ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something that leaks into like that.
I think
makes
that
it a more creative experience then, right?
Yeah, because the more experience you have in life, what do? You get more change, right, in life. So that's basically what it is those imprints, I process them, and if they apply, I try to use that influence for good.
Nice. All right, so looking back, like, what advice would you give to your younger self just starting out, knowing what you know today?
Why wait?
Why wait?
And I don't mean like YOLO or none of that. But like, why wait? Because you're only given opportunities in this life so many times, and everything you know and have as abilities. That being said, there's only so much opportunity, time, acceptance, so on and so forth for those things. And even though I had a good reason to wait, and I don't know or think necessarily it would change anything, but it would have given me more time, and it would also produce more evolution than if I was at this very point right now. I would have enough experience rap-wise to be making wiser decisions and not be more established. So why wait? If you want to do something and you're afraid to get on a stage, but you want to do it, why wait? Do it. And then either you're not going to die if it doesn't require swimming with sharks, jumping off a building, or starting a fire. Do it. Why wait? That's where I'm at.
I love it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? And my wife is a testament to that, actually, because until 2025, she had never got on a stage and sang for anybody in her entire life, bro.
We talked about that. I'm in a peaceful gladness over that. You know what I mean? For her.
Yeah. And everybody should just get out there and do it. If they have this inkling to go do that, go do it. That's it.
And whatever it is. I mean, if you want to race a race car and you have any opportunity to do it, that's what your life is for. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Because one day you're going to be dead. You know what I mean? And you won't be able to do it.
You only have so much time, right?
Yeah. I mean, not to be morose or anything, but you know.
Yeah, man, I love it. That's the greatest advice ever. For everybody, everywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah, bro. Okay, so tell us about the future. What's the vision? Where do you see yourself in the next few years? What's the overall goal look like?
Look, I know we said what we said about 5-year goals, and I know where I want to get to as far as success. And maybe this is the difference of me understanding and interpreting what I was asking you about on how to apply things but stay focused. But I'm not looking at or worried about that right now. I'm looking at the present. I'm staying focused on right now for other reasons, to be fair, like so that I can accomplish other responsibilities, but also because in general, you know, I'm not a crab. I can't look up here and down here, and you know, I can't have God take the wheel all the time. You know what I mean? So I need to be present. It's like the why wait thing. It's like, just be respectful, be responsible, but don't miss your opportunity. Don't miss your purpose, but do it with a whole heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And that's what I would tell myself too. And that's why I tell the people out in the audience.
You know what? And it's been a huge revelation as we went out and played live this year for the first time again, right? Because I used to play live when I was like 15 years old in front of 1,000 people on a stage type thing, right? Like 50 to 1,000 people, depending on what kind of event it was, right? And then I stopped for like almost 20 years, right? And then just this last year, we got back out there, and it was like learning how to ride a bike over again. You know how you always know how to ride a bike once you've ridden it? No, man. It was literally like having to retrain yourself to do that shit again, right?
You get back on and you forgot that you know. You know what I mean?
Right? And then it's all coming back now, and the whole thing about the experience of like crowds and things, like interacting back with you and singing along with you, like all that stuff, right? And it's like it's
awesome.
a huge eye-opening experience of like, why did I stop? You know?
Absolutely, man. Like I said earlier, like it's I don't really like to think of this as a hobby, but it has a lot of the qualities of a hobby. It's fun, dude. It's fun. It's fulfilling. You know what I mean? Even if, no matter really the circumstances, it's still fulfilling. And that's why I said earlier, like, I keep going. I don't know. You know what I mean? So
I love it.
I feel you.
Well, yo, that's it for the interview, brother. Thank you again for coming on the second time and being with me a second time, bro.
And thank you for having me, man. Always, man. We really got to talk randomly like this every couple months just to keep my mind sharp. Iron sharpened as iron.
Yeah, like think tank meetings or something.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
Hey, here's something that it bends your mind, drop it in a voice note in my DM, bro, and I let it bend my mind too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And yo, thank you to everybody else for coming and watching, whoever's here watching with us. And have a great afternoon. That's it. Cheers.